Welcome back, my friends, to another tournament report. This one is day 2 of my Kings of Warfare 3 tournament report. If you missed out on my day 1 report, well done. You've made the right choice. I played very poorly. I lost 2 games, I won 1 game, and did not cover myself in glory. But suffice to say, you'll be delighted to hear I play remarkably better in this game. These 2 games. So that's nice. And hopefully I will redeem myself somewhat. Game 5 is in fact against this magnificent fellow in the blue shirt, who is Chris Smith, one of the 3 Smith brothers, along with Mike and Andy. Andy was spare player, Chris was playing, and Mike was TOing and doing a magnificent job of it. It is the second biggest tournament in the UK. In this giant aircraft hangar as part of the Warfare trade show, which is kind of like mostly historical war games down in Farnborough. Marvellous it is too. Kings of Warfare is known for its spectacular terrain, and you're going to see some of that today. So let's get into it. This was my list. You skip past this bit if you've already watched the first one, because it's just a repeat. So I have a horde of spear phalanx. It's 1995, by the way, 1995, which means you can only carry 2 duplicates. So a horde of spear phalanx, which are kind of normal spearmen, human spearmen, defense 4, melee 4, 30 attacks. I've given them Indomitable Will and pikes, which makes them ensnaring, and phalanx, which is jolly good. They are a core of my army. I have 2 regiments of foot guard. These are defense 5 knights hitting on 3s. Again with Indomitable Will. Indomitable Will is the skill that allows them to be fearless and inspired for 1 turn, any time in your turn, and then last to the next turn. I have a regiment of crossbow block who do nothing for every single game. They are a waste of time. Sorry, crossbow block. I painted you and everything, and you made me sad. So, in the bin. A horde of beast cavalry with all of the trimmings, because that's how they come. So, flying, thunderous charge, and vicious, indomitable will. And I've given them the boots of striding for that 1 charge that becomes a strider. So, crush from thunder 1 vicious. They're like dracons, but better. And I call them dracons throughout the entire battle report because I have modelled them from elf dracons, and I just cannot get out of the head. Just the 2 ballista. 2 ballista because it's 1995, you only carry 2 repeats. 1 giant with a giant cleaver, which gives him Slayer against large stuff. So an extra d6 attacks against large stuff. A standard bearer with a loot, and then a wizard with Bane Charm. Basically, these are exactly the same. The standard bearer is inspiring, has got life leech, which makes them both a bargain. I take inspiring and life leech aura for 75 points. 25 points. 2 generals on winged beasts because only 2 repeats, but they're good, mini dragons. And then my favourite formation in the whole game, the outlaws. Everyone thinks they're terrible. Everyone is wrong. They are amazing. Again and again and again, they prove themselves to be incredibly good. And you think, why? They've only got 8 shots and they're range 5+, and they've got no piercing. They also have steady aim, 24-inch shot, and volley fire, which means they always hit on 5s no matter what, unless people are in cover or stealthy. Volley fire ignores the obscured rule, the 50% covered by cover rule, which means they generally hit on 5. So you've got 16 shots on 5s, a bit of unit strength, they're incredibly cheap, and you can't ignore them. They're chaff in a pinch. But the star of this show is the Brigand. The Brigand is even cheaper at 75 points. He hits on a 3, 4 attacks. He's got a huge 11-13 nerve, and his bow has piercing and volley fire, so he always hits on a 4. He's also crushing 1, and he inspires, so he's just an absolute bargain. Get the whole formation just for the Brigand. That's my list. I like it. Into game 4. So game 4 is versus Mark. Mark, who's there with his son Max, the most handsome man in the world. Mark is incredibly well dressed, just like, glittering with jewelry and kind of goth stuff, and he's just a magnificent human, and I wish I was him. He's playing Ratkin slaves, and it's quite a silly list. He's gone with a theme, and it's called Ratty Races, I believe, this list. So he has 5 regiments of tunnel runners, one of which has the boots of striding, one of which has the brewer's sharpness. So that's the scary one. That's the slightly less scary one, and these ones are only normally about scary because they're melee 4. So against my ensnare, they'll be melee 5, which means I'm not very scared of them. Melee 5 crush 1. You have 24 attacks though, which ain't to be sniffed at. He has 2 Death Engine Impalers, which are, Crush 2, Rampage, Vicious, and they've got a Wild Charge Aura, which means they're going to charge up to 19 inches. Not Wild Charge Aura, just Wild Charge D3. Means they're going to charge up to 19 inches, which is properly scary. We have got Ben Fur, a Taskmaster on Chariot. Good luck, by the way, guessing which one's which. We'll be guessing together because they all look the same. And he has got Mind Fog, and he is Rallying 1 for everything in the list. So, these Impalers, Death Engine Impalers go up to dash 17. These guys up to 15, 17. So he is my number one target to get rid of. And he's no slouch in combat. We have Golek Skin Flayer, who's rallying 2 for slaves. He's also on a chariot. And he's got Dread as well. He's just a very good character. He's 200 points though, but he is dash 16 and 7 attacks. He's pretty meaty. And then another Death Engine, which is Kryza's Gore Impaler, which is exactly the same as a normal Death Engine. Except, of course, it has Battering Ram, which means if it kills a unit, it can carry on as if it killed an individual and kills something else behind it. So, very, very, very scary. This is our special piece of terrain. So Warfare has a special piece of terrain on each table. So these have the Shining Spires, which are blocking terrain with statues on them. Anything within within 6 inches of a blocking terrain, or 3 inches of blocking terrain. Sorry, so within 3 inches of these pieces of blocking terrain, any non-hero unit can take D3 damage and gain Vicious and Inspiring Self, which is jolly good. And this beautiful, beautiful battlefield is what we're playing on. I loved it. Isn't it pretty? Got a giant castle next to it, which is fantastic. And the battle mat itself is just really cool. So these are the Shining Spires here. We have a hill and a hill. These ones are flat terrain or difficult terrain. We've got a woods here and a woods here and a wall here, which we'll talk about in a minute, and a wall here. Now, this wall here should not be here. If you look very carefully on this picture, you can see there is a little acrylic template here, which is where this wall should have been. And we deployed as if it was where it is, then noticed the template, and we had a chat to Mike Tio, and he was like, well, to be honest, play with it where it is because you've deployed thusly. I think it was turn 1 we noticed. Anyway, so that was on my side, which is slightly annoying. I would have actually liked it here because then it would have blocked all this scary stuff. But there you go. That's what it is. So over here, this is the Sharpness Tunnel. Let's go a little closer. So this is the Sharpness. Aren't they fantastic? Just want to say what a fantastic set of models. Just a mixture of all sorts of crazy models. There's Mantic Veermin models in there. There's bits of all sorts of crazy stuff. Wonderful army. I've got my vote for best painted. I tell you that for nothing. So this is the one with sharpness. This is a normal Tunnel Runner. And this one is maybe one of the Death Engines. This is a problem. Yeah. I think that's one of the Death Engines. This is fucking hell. Okay. This one's got Stride, I think. This is a normal one. I think this is Kryza's Gore Impaler, and that's Golek Skin Flayer. And then over here, this is the Ben Fur guy, the Taskmaster, and this is the other. Tunnel Runner. Oh no, that's Ben Fur. This is another Death Engine. Bloody hell, sorry. That's Ben Fur. He's on a little bike. He's the Taskmaster on Chariot. That's another Death Engine, and that's an Impaler. That's a set of Tunnel Runners. Wow, confusing heart. We got there in the end. So yeah, this one is Golek. This one is Kryza's Gore Impaler. Boots of Striding, normal. Sharpness one over here. I was really glad the Sharpness one was put over here. I was like, good. The scenario we are playing is Compass Points, a new scenario, which you might have seen me play against Florence in my battle report. You have 4 objectives on the table. You can see the 4. They're these orange tokens. Thanks, Mike Atkins. This one is worth, to me, this one is worth 2. This one is worth 3, and these ones are worth 1. Yeah? To Mark, that's worth 2, and this is worth 3, and these ones are worth 1. Okay? So objective base, he's going to swing around with these ones. He's basically going to push in my face and try and crush me, right? So I've deployed as I normally would. So over this side we have a general, Dracons, and one of the guard. Whatever they're called. I want to say Palace Guard every time, and they're not Palace Guard, Foot Guard. These are the spear phalanx with their standard bearer behind it. We have our giant and we have our foot guard. We have both bolt throwers just sitting in this terrain ready to bolt throw things. So this is like the ranged side. I've just arranged. You see what I did? Arrange them over here. So we have these guys just going to come and sit on this hill and shoot things. These are the crossbows, probably going to do nothing, and we're going to shoot things too. So on this side, and we have another general to provide some ranged relief. So if you look at the wider battlefield, this is what we've got. So we've got all this scary stuff against one general and my ranged stuff, and then his stuff. You've got 10 units, and I have a lot more, and there's a lot of terrain on this board. So my plan is to come forward, try and bait him into my spear phalanx, flank him with a giant, do a little pincer here with some Drakon, with some beast cavalry or something, and just hold all this stuff off and then swing around. That's the plan. Let's get into it. So off we go into turn 1, which Mark wins and takes. And he just pushes forward as hard as he can. If we get this and this can charge 19 inches, which is very, very scary. These guys charge 16. He's got very close here. I like it when people do things very close. It means there's no room to maneuver. Look how close that is. Very, very close. No room to maneuver. So he has managed to, however, push forward his death engine right into the corner. Golek's just here, offering some rally onto that sharpness guy. And he's taken a wound. Look at that. He's taken a wound so that he can have vicious and inspiring. Yeah, so that front one's inspired, basically. It's a nice move. So there he goes, like that. And that's his turn. There's no shooting. Into mine. So what do I do? Well, I do the thing. So this is just something you must always watch out for. It wouldn't have been hard to tilt these guys back a little bit like that. So sharpness cavalry, or even have this guy at the back who's facing the wrong way. Yeah. And that means that he's out of line of sight. Nasty place for general to be. I've pushed up with all this stuff and I've said, you know what? You want to charge these guys? Please go ahead. I've offered them as sacrifices. Because if you charge in here, you're going to have to then turn to face here. And something's going to hit you in the rear. It's basically a huge delaying tactic for these kind of very scary units over here while I deal with the other side. So I've gone up. I've offered a giant as a charge. I don't think you kill a giant in one. All I've offered. And over here, I've offered this foot guard behind the wall, and exactly the same problem. So unfortunately, again, Ben Fur here at the back could have just been turned to be flyer defense. He's very fast. It wouldn't be a problem. As it is, a general's in a nasty place. So I'm offered this charge here over a wall, so you'd be hindered no matter what into my defense 5 unit with Drakons next to you. So I like the positioning of that, and that's some shooting from Ballista into Chrysa's Gore Impaler, so it's 3 wounds. And then 5 wounds from all of the archers on the hill with their steady aim into this front tunnel runner, which is nice. So into turn 2 for Mark, what does he do? Well, he just goes in. He's like, you know what? Have it. So the death engine moves back. Why does the death engine move back? Why would you do that? Let's have a look where you were. Not really sure why he did that. I think it's because he couldn't turn. And this actually put him in a very difficult position. I would have had him... He didn't want to move out here and face this way. Because of where I positioned things, he couldn't multi-charge with it. He might... it wasn't possible to get a multi-charge in on any unit, really, apart from this one, which would allow counter-charges. He just goes in to murder everything and just moves this one back, saying, almost as a trap, come on then, you can charge me in the flank with your general. What we didn't realise... I'll come on to that in the next turn. We'll save that exciting bit of gameplay. So back here, he's got a little bit nervous of my general, so he's backed up and turned, or just turned, and then backed up and turned with this guy to face me, and gone in with the death engine into that spear phalanx. Death engines, of course, I think they have Strider, so still be hitting on 4s. So I don't think that kills it. It has got Rampage, but that's taking a hell of a chance. I think it's 50-50. Maybe a rerollable 7. Can't bother to do the maths because I can't remember the stats. D6 plus 8. Rampage D6, so 2d6 plus 8. Yeah, not convinced. And over this side, he also takes. So this is interesting. So he's come right up here. So this is nice positioning. I like this. So Chrysa's Gore Impaler has gone into the giant with Golek Skinflare behind. And the angle means I can't get in here. And that's a front, I think. So I can't attack Golek. All I can do is move these guys and multi-charge. So do a kind of a smart charge, if you like, with the Horde down here and the giant onto Chrysa's Gore Impaler. In the meantime, these guys are coming to look very threatening, so that's kind of a very nice move. Over here, so yep, the Outlaws suffer a noble death. Boo. Look at that laser. Ooh, laser time. And that one dies as well. But this is placed in a difficult position. So basically he chooses this turn. So I could flank with the general. It will be front with crossbows. But then the general will get eaten by the sharpness and everything will be bad. So that would be a sacrifice of the general. Don't want to do that. I've got 3 units. He's got 3 units. I think we can see what's going to happen. So that's just 6 wounds onto my giant. He's feeling fine. And then absolutely fluffs it over here. Just 2 wounds from this death engine onto my knights into my turn 2. So this is how the battlefield is looking. Let's go into it. So what do I do? Oh, do I take... Oh, well, okay. I'll tell you what I was doing there. I was lying. I could, in fact, fit in. Okay. I thought that was clever. I thought I couldn't fit in. But if you look down there, it's clear I can. Ah, well. So, yep. So I take the front charge onto Golek Skinflare and then multi-charge with these knights and giant into this one. I was at this tournament. I've played a few games since then. So yeah, so double charge onto the Chrysa's Gore Impaler, and my Horde charges Golek. So with probably some Bane Chant support, I should imagine. Now this side, so here's what we do. So we go in with the crossbows and in with the Brigand. I don't think either of these units will kill either of these units, although this has taken 5 wounds and the Brigand is no slouch. But over here, the general coming into the side of this death engine is a nightmare for that death engine because it cannot countercharge. It's trapped against the building. It doesn't have enough room to turn. All it can do is run away at this point. So that is a dead death engine, pretty much. And then so we flank and front here. Where does the other general go? We'll find out soon. I think I charge. Yeah, I do. I can see. So let's just go back here. So this is unfortunate because this... I think he needed to turn it more like this, right? Because as it is, when the general comes in here to attack this 11-13 unit, which for once a general actually has a chance of killing, no one can see it. It's just out on its own with a great bird in its face, which is not great. That's what he does. I get a Bane Chant off into the Brigand. Let's go, Brigand. And then we shoot with our Ballista into the Boots of Striding Tunnel Runner. Takes 6 wounds from Ballistas. Nasty. Another 6 wounds. The general has 6 wounds out of 7 attacks, which is extremely high for a general. Let me tell you, that is unprecedented. And it achieves a waiver. You can see this yellow chicken is a waiver. So I managed to waiver them, which is very unfortunate for that Ben Fur Taskmaster on Chariot. Oh, that's a shame. Look at that. So Bane Chanted Brigand does 4 attacks, 4 wounds, smashes them up to 9, and then double ones it. Boo. He was doing so well. 1 wound there from the crossbowman. You go, crossbowman. And then I double 6 it. Unbelievable. And I was saying such mean things about crossbowmen. Such mean things. Completely forgot they did this. It's nothing to do with them being crossbows, and everything to do with me rolling a double 1 followed by a double 6 in the same turn. This game is silly. Into turn 3 for Mark, and he's in a very tricky spot. You can see in the middle I've cleaned up. So both Chrysa's Gore Impaler and Golek Skinflare get murdered. And now I've given him the choice of charging an Ensnare Phalanx Horde, a Defense 5 unit with a Giant and an Ensnare Phalanx Horde looking at it, or a Giant. The Giant's wounded 6 wounds, so the Giant's probably going to cark it, right? But we've got a Wavered Sharpness unit, a Steady unit with 9 wounds, a Helpless unit over here that took some... How many? A Wavered guy over here, and then a Tunnel Runner with nothing to do apart from charge some Drakons in the wood. They're not Drakons, they're Beast Cavalry. Okay, and so he does the thing. So the boots of striding guys go into the foot guard, and then the other one goes into the giant, hoping to take him out. Counter charge there, and the sharpness unit just backs up. And since this other death engine couldn't do anything against my general, just charged into the flank of these crossbows to get rid of them. How dare they waver the most powerful unit on the field? Yep, and he takes that charge because there's not a lot else to do, and otherwise he's going to get eaten by beast cavalry. And there you go. 8 wounds onto my foot guard and a waver. A waver is not what you wanted there because now it's flanked down. Population U. Even worse, the giant takes 11 wounds and doesn't die. Even worse. Even worse. In this most silly of silly games, the brigand gets up to 9 wounds, and it's Mark's turn to roll a double one. So, the battle of the double ones continues. Yeah, but, you know, the crossbows die. And boy, do they die. 3 wounds onto the beast cavalry. They're feeling peachy. So my turn 3, I want to say. I'm not taking a picture of the dice. Probably comes up in a minute. Doesn't. Useless, man. So the brigand decides not to take on this unit. He decides to hold off the scariest unit, because the way I thought about this was that's facing the wrong way. That's facing the right way. Get rid of it immediately. Where's my general gone? Here he is. So he flew all the way over from where he was over there to help out with this combat against this beleaguered giant. These guys hopefully will die. And then we flank in here, obviously. Of course, waivers mean not a thing when you have Indomitable Whale, so I shrug it off and go back in. My standard bearer comes around here to offer some inspiring here, as well as some Bane Chantery, because we need Bane Chanting onto a Crush 1 unit when I am counter-charging. You can see here, very annoying, I am in the flank with this foot guard, which means I cannot join in the combat, because I am blocked by the Shining Spire. And then, oh, that's the, sad times for Ben Fur, who really didn't get to do anything, did he? Apart from die. As does that unit. There is much death everywhere. Is that 19 wounds? That's 19 wounds. And you guessed it, yet another double one. That's 4, I believe, this game. 3? 4? 3. 3 double ones so far. Spectacular. Great one. Really proud. Brigand carries on being an absolute badass. Another 2 wounds on the sharpness, guys. However, it is too little too late, I fear, because this is how the battlefield looks. Obviously, we kill off this one as well. There's nothing here. These guys got 3 units held up by the brigand. He's going to have to kill the brigand first, and you've got a general, a giant, a horde. The regiment will probably die. I've still got bolt throwers. So, into turn 4 for Mark. So, nice charge there. So he calculates it. He's just in with the wild charge that he rolls into my giant. The giant will die. And so that very injured. So 11 wounds the general did to him. And I positioned quite poorly. You can see here. I put the general so he can't see. Bad. To hope I can roll with some ballista at point blank range. Yep. That's kind of expected. Foot guard go from 8 to 14 wounds and die. Oh man, cannot catch a break. Yep, so that is 13 wounds. So there's only 2 wounds from that death engine. 11 to 13, that's very, very poor rolling. And a waver onto my giant. He does, of course, have furies. That pretty much seals the deal. And the brigand dies a noble death. But boy, didn't he do well. Outlaws are great. You're all sleeping on outlaws. And these guys move up. So yeah, 1 wound there onto my unit from that death engine. Not good, but yeah, that's in snare for you. Yep, and we wander off. So my beast cavalry are coming over to help. These guys are going to wander off and look, I'm playing the scenario to get a token. Countercharge, yes, countercharge here. Giant countercharges here. The general flies into this unit, which of course blocks the sharpness unit. Look at this jewelry. Oh man, what a cool guy. Honestly, and a very cool army. So yeah, we kill the Death Engine on the counter charge because I get to use Slayer. And we kill the other Tunnel Runner. And we kill the other Tunnel Runner. It is very much, you know, in Blackadder, where the Melchett is like got the dustpan and brush, and he's like doing that. It did feel a little like that. It felt a little bit mean, I got to say. But unfortunately, Mark's army is one of those you've got to commit and then just hope you roll. Right? It's all in because it doesn't have a defense. It's a real wacky race. Is in your face, time to die. And if you don't die, it dies. There's one unit left on the battlefield in turn 5, and it's this one. General comes in to have a go. He's probably going to die. He does die. There you go. So the sharpness guy kills off my general, as he should. And then backs up, trying to get to that objective on that side. My turn 5, the giant eats him. And that's pretty much it. So three wounds. The giant, indomitable giant, who would not die, twice survived almost certain death. Came over to eat it up. And then we just flew to get objectives. So yeah, Beast Cavalry over here, Horde here, General and Foot Guard to get my first ever match points victory. I was really excited. And Mark was incredibly gracious about the quite egregious murder I just put upon him. But as I say, I did love his army. I loved him. I thought he's awesome. So that put me on 2 wins and 2 losses. Pretty much middle of the pack into my game 5 of the tournament. Can I claw victory from the ashes of defeat? And we crash into the final game against Chris, and here he is in all his glory. And he's playing the Undead. Maybe we should draw a creepy skull on him while he's here. I don't actually know. Oh, wow, that's really creepy. Let's try again. Because he's undead, right? That's what a skull looks like. It's pretty creepy. Sorry, Chris, I just stopped it, basically. Anyway, so Chris is a lovely guy and very talented terrain maker along with his brothers, and a very, very good undead general. A side note, this background is my favourite picture Mantic have ever done. It actually hangs in a frame above my desk, and I think Morgoth is the best villain they've ever written. Not that they've written much for him. And I was deeply excited. I'm reading currently Hero Falling, which is a Mark Marble book about his Basilean characters, and Morgoth is mentioned in it, and got unreasonably excited. I think there's a Morgoth novel coming, and he was definitely in the latest Clash of Kings book. At the back, there's like an Armada-themed boat battle in which Morgoth's boat returns. And I got immediately excited again because I think Morgoth is amazing. Just a fantastic character. I'm really, really super excited. Anyway, maybe no one else is, but I am. So I think games need, keystone villains. And there's not enough keystone villains in Mantic, I think. In Mantica. Panathor. So Chris's list is a very good kind of bit of everything undead list. So he's got a regiment of zombies, a horde of spearmen with undead giant rats to give them an extra life leech, I want to say. Do they? Don't know. Can't remember. Soul Reaver infantry with the staying stones. Very, very punchy. The kind of original punchy unit. The original hammer. Looks a bit sad these days compared to mutants, isn't it? Sorry. A horde of whites with Aegis of the Elohi. That's good. So they are both Life Leech 1 and Iron Resolve, which is very annoying in a Dash 17 unit. 2 regiments of Revenant Cavalry, and one of which has the Boots of Striding. They pair with a Standard Bearer who has an Aura of Wild Charge 2 for skeletons. So this charge, normal charge of 16 becomes a charge of 18, which is very, very good for kind of chaffy units, even if they only hit on 4s. Necromancer with Surge and Weakness and the Inspiring Talisman. So the Army Standard Bearer is on a horse to keep up with said Revenant Cavalry, I assume. Morgoth the Mandatory. He's still amazing. He can fly twice his speed and cast 2 spells. A Revenant on Undead Great Burrowing Worm. So this is the foot worm. So worm without wings. But it's still pretty tasty. It's only speed 8. But it is a dash 18 nerve and it's got 12 attacks rather than the regular 10. Brutal, crush 3, life leech 1. I think that's a jolly good unit, frankly. 200 points, not bad. Considering the Revenant on Undead Flying Worm is speed 10 but goes down to 10 attacks. Still melee 4-18. Loses brutal. And gains inspiring. So gains nimble as well. Nimble's good, isn't it? Life leech 2 over life leech 1. So both good, but I rather fancy the burrowing worm out of the two, to be honest. For 55 points less, that's crazy. Just me. Anyway, Hans Sanguinary Scripture giving him life leech 2. Oh, that's why. That's why it's life leech 2 over life leech 1. They're both life leech 1. This one's got the Sanguinary Scripture. So really good list. I like it. A bit too much to have to play against it. This is our battlefield. So really, really cool battlefield. Loved this one. Very interesting, unique terrain. So let's just quickly outline the terrain first. We've got 2 woods here, normal height kind of 9. This is a hill, this is a hill, this is a blocking terrain, and this is a blocking terrain. This is the downed Hellfane. It's very cute. Anyway, and these are pools of skulls, which are the special terrain. So these are normal pools, but they're coloured red, they've got skulls in them. We've got 2 chain fences, one there, and where's the other one? It's going to be somewhere on the battlefield. Don't know, it's probably under something. But the pools of skulls are important because they are a thing. And it's the most impactful of the special terrain that I played on at Warfare. There were other ones that were impactful, but this one I think was really, really interesting. So, units starting their turn in a pool of skulls. It says in a pool of skulls, but I don't know whether touching or physically 50% in. Anyway, didn't come up. And they gain either Rampage Slayer or Wheel Breaker. Right, Wheel Breaker being a Rampage or Slayer for chariots. So D6, basically you just get a plain D6 extra attacks when you start your turn in that pool. However, when you're starting that turn in the pool, if you are able to charge an enemy unit, you must charge an enemy unit. You may move your units in whichever order you wish, which may effectively block a unit from being able to charge. Heroes, Monsters and Titans do not gain Rampage Slayer and Wheel Breaker. However, they must be given the charge order. So this means, if you look at the battlefield we've deployed here, but basically touching this becomes very important, because if you're touching it, you will charge that turn with extra attacks, and so you can almost bait the enemy into charging you. Really interesting. So we are playing a scenario. I wish I knew which scenario it was. Do we have any tokens or anything? Nope. Okay. That's interesting. I know. I remembered. It's okay. It is Hold the Line. So Hold the Line is when you have 3 zones across the centre, like mini control, like yay. This one is worth 3, this one is worth 2, and this one is worth 2. Okay, so it's a battle to control 2 of the 3 pretty much to win. Let's look at how Chris is deployed. So over here he's got his whites, his skeleton horde. That's Morgoth. I believe that's the Necromancer. And then this is Soul Reavers and this is zombies. Okay, we're protecting his Soul Reavers from my Ballistae. We have both Revenant Cavalry over here. I don't know which one's got Strider. It doesn't come up, I think. There's a Standard Bearer for the Aura. And then we have the Burrowing Worm and the Winged Worm here. Okay? So against that, so here they are. Very, very nice too. Mixture of movement trays and not. So against all this filth, this is really, really punchy. So, there's the Necromancer. We got, Super Punch, Chaff Chaff essentially, and Morgoth, who is just a force multiplier. I've got my general, and this time I've angled him. Why have I angled him? I think I've angled him so I can come up against this building and turn at the end. That's why. We've got the Outlaws. The Outlaws! Let's go, MVPs. We've got one of the Foot Guard, the Wizard, Giant, the Spear Phalanx, other Foot Guard, and my Standard Bearer. So I've really gone heavy with defensive units on this flank against all of those punchy things. We've got useless crossbows in the middle. We've got 2 ballista kind of facing off this. Really, I want these to be shooting at Revenant Cavalry. That's what I want. And then right on the other side, I've got both my fast units against both his fire. They're the only thing that outspeeds anything he's got, apart from the Revenant on Winged Worm. So I'm just going to try to play a game. Now, my strategy here is I want to win this 2 sides here. Okay. This side I'm going to ignore. So these guys are sacrifices, essentially. I'm going to try and hold off this as much as possible. I think I've got enough power here to kill this and then swing around and defend. That's the plan. There's the other wall. We found it. It's right in the middle of the battlefield. So off we go. Chris wins first turn and he takes it. And he pushes forward as hard as he can. So we've got your winged worm covering any kind of shenanigans with the general down the flank. So that's exactly how you do it. You make sure there is nowhere for that general to land. And these guys kind of form a nice defensive curve. There's nothing special going on. They're just kind of waiting for me to charge. And is that my go shooting? I think it is. I think I do a wound. There you go. Well done, me. So I look at this. The general does do shenanigans, but not that much. So I measure it out basically. The whites would have to get a spectacularly long bomb surge with both surges to get into my general. So I take that chance. I position so that I get enough shots with my outlaws. And we just push up a little bit here. So actually we don't even push up, we back up. So I look at this and I think the way he's pushed these forwards, right? The general could theoretically land here and might not be seen by this. But there's nowhere good for him to land yet, and there's no need for me to engage him so quickly. So I back up, make him come forward for another turn and do some shooting. So yeah, outlaws get 2 wounds onto them, which they're going to life leech off. Onto turn 2 for the undead. We're playing very fast. And he just pushes forward super hard. And now, fortunately, he's managed to position in such a way that I can do what I wanted to do, which is to take in charges. Because if I do charge, I might not be seen here, but I need to think about what I want to shoot and kill. So over here, again, very, very aggressive. He doesn't need to hang around. Notice he's put his skeletons in the pool. That means if they can charge, they will have to next turn. He's pushed up. Cowardly vampire still hiding behind their zombie friends. Morgoth lurking there. And that is a weakness onto my general from Morgoth, or from the Necromancer. Boo onto you. And he surges the zombies forward onto that wall. So there you go, not so tight upper. By the way, the Soul Reavers is just a Soul Reaver. And if you can see that there, it's a single vampire who's murdered thousands of people. That's pretty cool. Great modelling. Into my turn 2. Off we crack. So this is how the battlefield looks. Chris is being very dominant, pushing forwards. I'm being very defensive because he's punchier than I am. It's probably time to get into the fray. So what do? We take it. So I think, right, this is a lot of stuff. What I want to do is clear off one of them and then turn so that these guys have to charge into me. Okay, over here, so I spot a nice flank here. So he's managed to surge his zombies forward so far that I can get a flank with that horde. What that'll allow me to do is hopefully kill them in one and then position so that the Soul Reavers will have to charge hindered into ensnare. I should be able to, the way I've positioned everything, so I positioned these guys and these guys to cover my flank on the reform, right? Because I don't want to be whited in the flank. And in the meantime, Chris did make a small mistake in that he's left his Necromancer open. So my general flew from here into the flank of him, even weakened, because it's not about killing that Necromancer, it's about positioning for next turn, right? We have a go with a bolt throw onto Morgoth, and we do 2 wounds, which I'm very proud of. Screw you, Morgoth. Take a bolt to the head. We do kill the zombos and position like this. So they're not going to be hindered, but they are going to be ensnared when they come in. I think I can stand that charge, even if he gets the whites in as well, or these in as well. The whites probably won't fit with skeletons there because they're blocked by my generals. So that's good. Over here, yeah, now this was a cock-up. So I do kill that unit, and I reposition like this. This is a silly mistake of mine, and it's the kind of mistake that really stops me, I think, doing well, frankly. So the general turns this way, and I turn my beast cavalry, and I don't turn them far enough. I could have turned them so the edge was like this, instead of which I've allowed them to be double charged. It's just unnecessary, especially so Morgoth has flown over. He's going to do some draining as well. This unit pretty much guaranteed to die. I think it could maybe survive 1 maybe on a good day. Both, absolutely not. That was, yeah, full of regret when it comes to that one. So over on this side, he takes the Soul Reavers into the phalanx on their own, and he positions Usly. So the whites come into this unit of Foot Guard, which I like, because Foot Guard like fighting stuff. I think they'll live, maybe, we'll see. And one of my outlaws takes some skeletons. And the reason I like these charges is because I just don't think the Soul Reavers will kill a horde of phalanx ensnaring infantry in one, and I've got a rear charge, which means one of his scariest units is out of the game, which is exactly what I need to do quickly. Over here though, yeah, Morgoth comes over, does yeah, bad. Oh, don't like it. Into the general. The general dies immediately. That's just unfortunate. That's unfortunate and unlikely. But there you go. Thunder 2. When you're 3, sometimes you just need to roll like a 9 or 10 twice. General dies. That's very bad. And of course, the Beast Cavalry die too. So that's very, very bad because it means that 3 fast units are now free to do whatever the higgity heck they want. And they've got very little wounds on them. In fact, no wounds on them. Yeah, so that side's been cleared out way quicker than I wanted. Over here, only 6 wounds though onto them, so we live. That's superb for me. The outlaws die a noble death. And now it's some time for skeletons to die. And 10 wounds. Soul Reavers do what Soul Reavers do, right? Even hitting on 4s. That's 10 wounds, which is pretty tasty. Good rolling, but not enough. Into my turn 3, so we do it like this. So this is going very, very badly. This is going better. I think I should, this turn, clear out this unit, which are the 2 scary units. I can just grind against this, and then we've got to just hold these guys off, right? And theoretically, I should achieve my goal of getting both of these sections. 10 wounds here is particularly annoying, because that means they're in danger of dying immediately. So we turn like this. We're going to take some hindered shots onto things. So unfortunately, I couldn't get the giant into the flank of these, which is what I really wanted to do, right? That's what you want it because they're large cavalry. Because of this outlaws unit, it's just in the way. Even if I sidestepped, I just couldn't get the charge I wanted. So I had to rely on outlaws and foot guard. Going into these guys, whites. So the giant and the other foot guard went into the skeletons, and we rear charged here. He's pointing to my he's pointing to the brigand, who's great. Love the brigand. What a G. So see this gap here? The brigand comes down here, boing, into a necromancer, and he kills him in 1. Go brigand, MVP. Oh, he's not. Oh, he's dead. Yeah, he's dead. Figuratively showing he's dead. And so do the Soul Reavers, which is spectacular. Unfortunately, we do not perform well over here. I think I don't get the Bane Taunt off maybe or something. The whites only on 6 wounds. They keep on, regenning and stuff back. So poor, and poor. There's 9 wounds onto skeletons, and they're not dead. 9 wounds is so low. Anyway. Time to face the music, boys. I do life leech. I remember to life leech for the first time, so that's good. So when he comes, this is turn 4 now. So the worm, burrowing worm, comes into my ensnare unit. It's not flying, so it doesn't take the extra phalanx. This is turn 4, of course. And these Revenant Cavalry start to back off to claim this table section. So it's really a fight over the middle now. And that's nice, isn't it? Flying worm. We get a lovely shot of the flying worm eating the head of my griffin. But he does 2 wounds, which is not eating the head worthy, frankly. Disappointing. And the whites finish off my foot guard, which means the outlaws are now facing whites on their own. Do not like. There's 1 wound from the skeletons back onto my other foot guard. Oh yeah, 5 wounds. Alright, 5 wounds. I'll take it back. I start on 10 wounds. Do I go up 10 wounds? Oh, he didn't do any wounds. No wounds at all. Wow, what goes around comes around, boys and girls. Into my turn 4. It's really crunch time now. This is the battle, right? The battle is for the centre. These whites need to die. What can I get into them? I need to kill these skeletons, and then really we need to start taking things out here. So we've got the brigand into the side, outlaws in the front, counter charge, shooting the guys over there in the vain hope I might kill them. Which I don't. I do 2 wounds, which is not enough. Yeah, disappointing turn here. Defense 5 is good. 7. So another 2 wounds, and they still don't die. Into Mike's turn 2. Wow, hang on, that's a bit of a shortcut. What happened to everyone else's wounds? Surely other people died as well. Nope. Ah, yes. So they do. And this is really a mistake that costs me, I think, a lot. So I kill the skeleton horde. I look at this and I think, I'm alright, I'll get them in the end. Not sure how I think that. I think I was too scared of these 2 dragons. Because I turn the giant this way. The giant is a white killer. He's also a dragon killer with his slayer, but he's unwounded. And these whites, albeit on 7 wounds, outpower both these units. I think I was slightly overconfident on the brigand's ability to kill. But we do 5 wounds onto this guy, 4 wounds onto this guy. So the standard bearer comes into my crossbows. I look at this, and by the way, I was thinking, I've got him. I'm unit strength 3. He's unit strength 3. I'm going to run over, and in turn 6, I'm going to get them into this segment. The next turn, I check my army list. They're unit strength 2. They're absolutely useless in this respect. So that's poor. Tired at the end of a long 2 days in which I've drunk an inordinate amount of alcohol. So yep, he comes into there. Morgoth pops over to try and help knock out my horde. They duck off the hill to not be shot again. Another charge there into my outlaws, who they kill, of course, life leeching and turning back for my brigand. And that was the point when I realized the giant is facing the wrong way. Even worse, the life leech 2 dragon kills my general. Second attempt. Putting him down to 2 wounds, which means he is now a very real, threatening prospect. And the horde dies. Uh-oh. It's looking bad in the middle. I've just lost 4 unit strength. So all that life leech. Morgoth just managed to tip him over the edge, took him off. I've got 1 regiment of foot guard. I have got giant facing this way. But really, the giant needs to be facing that way, because that's what's going to win or lose the game. Into turn 5, so Mike's turn 5. Or is it my turn 5? It's my turn 5. This is how it looks. If he was facing that way, he could have gone in there and finished them off. And then turned around to take whatever charge I wanted next turn. In fact, I didn't even need to charge. No, I didn't charge. Charge this one, right? Bad. So no wounds here, by the way, which is good. So yeah, we take off the dragon with the giant. Too little, too late. And the other one comes in here. There's my 11 I rolled to kill him. Bosh! Mike's being dramatic at this point. I killed his dragon by rolling 11 on nerve. I don't manage to kill this thing. It looks like 1 wound, which is pathetic from the foot guard. Turn 6 for Mike. So 8 wounds on my foot guard, and they waver. They don't care and dump to will. However, the brigand does die, and we turn thusly. So now I have 1 turn to try and kill these whites to win. So he positioned Morgoth in front of them. I think maybe to try and block. I don't know. Into my turn 6. Can I pull defeat from the arms of victory, or victory from the arms of defeat? Even so, this is how it looks at turn 6. This segment is gone. You see, I've moved these guys up, then realised my mistake and turned them round. It's too late now for them to be impactful, really, so they're just going to be in the centre. That's 4 unit strength, so I claim the centre. Or that's even 5 unit strength at the end of turn 6, right? 3 and 2, which outpowers that 2. Right, so I've got the centre for 3 points. He's got that section for 2 points. It comes down to this giant's charge. I should have had 2 combats on them, I only got the 1. So I need to charge in on this turn, kill them, overrun, win the game. They're just stupid. So my counter charge here with an ultimate takes up to 9 wounds, does nothing. Yeah, giants can't roll 4s, as it turns out. So I had 2d6 plus 8. I think I rolled 4 on the 2d6 total. So 12 attacks. Crushing. I actually Bane chanced him for crushing 5, just for amusement's sake. 8 wounds. Did not roll the requisite 11. to kill them twice. Not surprising. 10 actually, because I got brutal. And that's the end of the game. So, very close at the end. Due to some silly mistakes that I made, really. And Mike just only made one small error, really, and just played very, very well indeed. So he gains the end of the turn and the end of the game. And there he is. He was relatively pleased. Look at that warrior's face. Yeah, so great game. Really just fantastic game. I had fantastic games all the way through, to be honest, apart from the first one, which I cocked off, and that wasn't Rob's fault. Just really enjoyed playing Mike. Really good to play such a high-level player with such a fantastic army. And I was very pleased to receive this at the end. This is the Best Army, so I was voted Best Army Award. You also got a baby Hellfane, which Andy apparently promised me. I've not got a photo of it here, but it's a Hellfane, but mini. He promised me at Clash of Kings, and I've forgotten. He said at Warfare he's going to make me adopt a baby Hellfane, and he did. So I won that as one of the judges' choices as well. So I've got a baby Hellfane to paint and adopt and look after. He's demanded regular welfare updates. So that's nice. So let's move on from there. So for my staggeringly poor play, I ended up like less than half, 3 losses. So I started taking photographs of armies, right? This is my army, of course, minus the giant, which I'd forgotten. It was under the table. I started taking photographs, and I got very quickly distracted, you'll see, by the other kind of demonstration games happening at Warfare, which was so cool, and you will see. This is my army, plus giant, which very kindly won Best Painted. This, I believe, is Dave Musgrave's army. More Kings and Men, with the most magnificent... He's got allied ogre chariots, because they're the only base size he could find. Or ogre... Yeah, chariot legion or something, anyway. Very, very nice. And then I got distracted. I took 2 armies, and I'm like, what's going on? Giant airship with little things going around. This was called... Can't remember what it's called. Death over something. But very, very fun. Massive airship game. And then this was a game where they were... these 3 boats were invading the Isle of Wight. So these templates were your boats. And they showed what's happening. So this one's on fire. And they're invading the Isle of Wight. So this is the Isle of Wight. So that was a very cool game that I enjoyed watching. A Rum-Do, it was called. They had all these kind of... they're all reenactors. Sealed not reenactors. So they all had some weapons you could play with and stuff. And there's the weapons and the helmets. Put those on if you feel like it. And I did. And then a giant historical war games laid out. I didn't even know what was happening here. I just thought it was really cool terrain layout. Really fun. Big 8-foot tables. This one was Northwest Frontier participation game. Northwest Frontier. Shootin', rootin', tootin'. This was a very cool game. I liked this one. This was called 0200 Hours. Normally it's played on a much smaller board, but essentially it's midnight. It's 2 o'clock in the morning, right? So everything is dark. And so your little SAS soldiers are trying to invade this mansion to murder or assassinate some SS officer or something, right? And so these guys over here were the SAS. Unfortunately, this command car had just come around the door, and you can see from all the tokens, these eye tokens, they've been detected, which means they're about to be murdered. Very, very cool little game. They're normally played on a smaller board, but they're just playing on this big mansion. 200 hours, there you go, night raids. So this was a homebrew rule set called Dark Side of the Moon by the South London Warlords. They've written it themselves. On this cool moon base. All these cool like little shuttles and all these flames had LEDs inside of them flickering away. Another brilliant, fantastic looking game. With loads and loads. You can see I got very distracted very quickly. Celebrity shoes! By these magnificent battlefields. Lots of this was sharp practice. Then back to some armies. Whose Riff Forge orcs were these? I don't know, but they're beautifully painted. Good job. This is Chris Lynch's. Chris, isn't it time you painted some new miniatures? Rather than just wanging out the same Nurgle army to be everything you want to play? Shame on you. These are some goblins. I know who this is. This is the wonderful John Guns' army. He's got a cool giant based off the Scud Kuzaluk model. He's goblins. Top goblin this year. I'm going to say Forces of the Abyss, maybe? Or it might be... Undead. It's werewolf-based army. Maybe it's the herd. Might be the herd. No, I think it's undead. Here's some dwarves. You can see from this title here, it's called Justin Gisby Clark, completely unoriginal dwarf list. Basically, Justin won the tournament, but essentially he came with Daniel Wolfgang Wright's list from Clash, just spared down to 1995. So it's just loads of Ironclad. Turns out Ironclad are really good. Who knew? So 1 horde, 4 regiments of Ironclad, or 3 regiments in this case. All with Mastiffs, a couple of Shieldbreaker regiments, a Behemoth with Gollop's Fury, Dwarf Lord and Large Beast, which is my model, by the way. There you go. And then Faber, whoever the other guy is. Just, you know, all heroes. 2 Dwarf Lords and Large Beasts. There you go. So, yeah. Daniel Wright can write a list, let me tell you. That's the cool army you already saw, which is Mark Airedale's army. Wacky Races, very, very cool. This you will recognise from Murdering Me in Game 3. This belongs to Ben Hampshire. Some nice halflings. Not sure who these ones belong to. I should know. I have forgotten. Memory is going. Some Abyssal Dwarfs. Nice shield motifs there. Lovely. Oh, these were Ed Herzig's Trident Realm, which he painted a long time ago, but I think they're just so beautiful. And this is my game. There you go. Right, another one. And I got distracted again. Back to more battlefields. The huge naval combat. This magnificent harbour. And can you see all these tiny airplanes coming in formation? Isn't it cool looking? Oh, I loved this one. Yeah, I took a few shots. Just thought it was really nice cinematic. You just see, isn't it easy to get distracted when there's cool games like this happening? So yeah, giant naval combat. It's pretty cool. This one was a tank warfare. You can see further down, I think some pictures there. Yeah, all these tanks, some of them are on fire, shooting at each other. Some more historical wargaming going on in the corner of the hall. And I had no idea what this was. I just thought it was a fun looking board. Some kind of weird 3D asteroid chess space station game. Burma, maybe or Vietnam War. Yeah, and that's it. Cool. That was Warfare. So I hope you enjoyed this battle report. Slightly shorter, slightly better play in this one. Really, really enjoyable games. Cannot recommend Warfare enough if you get the chance to go down there. What a magnificent tournament it is, and a great trade show. Dangerous as hell for your wallet. That's what I would say. I'll be back very soon. I've got a live battle report filmed with my new camera for crystal clear clarity, with a better view of the battlefield, which I'm very excited about, with Command Dice. And then followed by the UK's first tournament with Command Dice, which was Chill of the Winterland, which happened last weekend, which I ended up TOing because the TO was not well. So I TO'd and played that, but that also had Command Dice. You'll find out just how big of a thumbs up I give them in that battle report and tournament report coming soon. Yeah, I might record another one next week. We'll see how we go. So I'm on fire with the old battle reporting. I tell you what, I should probably use some more terrain views and stuff. Who has the time? Not me. Right, much love to you all. Take care. We'll see you next time on Death by Dragons.